Okay, I'll call the meeting to order for the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. This is a remote only. Roll call vote will be needed and we'll take attendance. Brendan Chanel,
Chanel here.
Leanna Moore,
Here.
Ann Mazar,
Mazar here.
Fran Nero. You're muted, Fran.
Here.
All right, and Lonnie Tenio here. Great. Okay, so first order of business, although it is a somber one, I would just like to recognize passing of. Oh, hang on, let Matt come in. Matt, we just took attendance. If you wouldn't mind just announcing here.
Matt Clark here.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, as I was saying, just somber moment, but recognize the passing of Bill Ambrosino. He was a pillar of the community and was involved in so many items with planning, zoning, master plan committee, which was his most favorite achievement, I feel. Yeah, no, it's going to be a sad loss for the town, and hopefully we can continue on and continue the good work that he was putting forward.
Here.
We have on here a board reorganization. If I don't know how many more meetings we have left. I was the camera's working really well, huh? So I'm currently the vice chair. I don't mind stepping up to be the chairman if the board so wants me to for the remainder of the meetings, or if somebody else is interested in it, by all means I'll stay as vice chair, so it doesn't matter to me. We just need somebody to kind of make a motion in whatever direction we would like to go.
I'll nominate Lonnie Tenio to be chair of the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee.
Chanel second.
All right. All those in favor, Leanna Moore,
Aye.
Ann Mazar,
Aye.
Fran Nero,
Aye.
Matt Clark,
Aye.
Brendan Chanel.
Aye.
Okay, so now we need a vice chair. I would nominate Matt as the vice chair. He's been doing the minutes, and him and I have kind of been working together with that piece. Matt, if that is
Under protest, by the way.
So I move to appoint Matt.
Second under protest.
Well,
I should say a second under Matt's protest, not me protesting Matt's election.
yeah. Well, with that being said, Leanna, I move to appoint Matt Clark as vice chair.
Nero second.
All right. All those in favor, Leanna,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Brendan.
Aye.
Fran.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye. Can I vote on my own thing?
And probably. Tenio, aye as well. All right. Oh, look, I'm not blurry anymore. Excellent. Okay, so next item would be, so we had the meeting minutes. Did you, were those all set, Matt? Did everybody get a chance to review them? Did anybody have any objections or changes? Are they in the link?
They
No,
were
I
sent them last week.
separate.
No,
Yeah, sorry, I
I-
should have added them.
That's okay. I thought I can pull them out of the email. I think I still have them. Matt Clark minutes. So we have June 3rd and June 17th, 2025. I'll accept a motion to accept those meeting minutes as written.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of June 17th and
3rd.
whatever that date was. I don't have it.
3rd, June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Where are the June 3rd minutes? I saw the 17, but where?
They were
Are they
with
not-
that. They were also with that attachment. I can forward them to everybody real quick. If you just want to take a quick look, it should only take a moment. I just re-forwarded them. If everybody's okay, I just need a second.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Does anybody have any questions on those?
I mean, I don't know if it matters, but it says Ronnie Tinio on the June 3rd ones, and then my name has an E, but
My
will-
AI companion was not very
oh,
accurate.
it was corrected. There you go, to Lonnie, yeah.
Yeah, so just a little background. These are AI generated from the transcript because I couldn't, there's a lot to generate these.
So we'll just before we post them, we'll just go through them real quick and make sure that the names are correct. That's all. All right. All in favor, Leanna?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Brendan?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tinio, aye. All right. It's a very busy agenda.
Let's return.
All right, so discussion of and potential vote of recommend to recommend to the planning board. We have revisions for the ADU zoning bylaw. We have revisions to Article 1, revisions to 2.06 on the sign bylaw, revisions to Article 3, revisions to 6.03 marijuana establishments, new proposed bylaw 6.04 common driveways, and new proposed bylaw 6.05 flag lots. Dylan, I would look for your direction on how would you like to proceed with those?
So the only one missing from that is Article 3 because the formatting was not working with me. But obviously we've looked over all these changes in the past, and like I said in my email today, I've had your your consensus a while back for like what looked good, and everyone seemed to be on the same page. So I will have those in the next week or so. So if we can meet again before the select board announces a warrant date, we could definitely just finish up and vote on that, as well as some of the other edits that we're looking to make. That's like Article 2, the open space changes, Article 4, 5, and 6, which are just like very minor edits. What I have today is everything else that's on the agenda, and I sent out that file with everything in it. I don't want to go through it line by line. It's basically the same things that we've already looked at, but I'll do like just a brief, I'll share my screen. We'll look at each one very briefly, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
That works for me.
And then we have I made this like motion sheet. You can either at the end make a motion with all of them, or we can do each one separately, however you guys want to vote. And just so we can recommend that the planning board sponsors these for a town meeting.
Okay, I would recommend that if there's anything that's we can't agree on, that we'll hold that one, and then we'll vote them as bulk and go that route.
Perfect.
Yep.
So this is the ADU bylaw. I talked with our town council a few months ago, and I'm supposed to meet with her this month to go over the changes. So we did the ADU bylaw in the fall, and the AG picked apart everyone's. It wasn't just us. It was basically every town. So there's little things we had to change here and there. And then they gave us some like tips and tricks of like how to make sure we don't get sued in the future, things like that. So I've made some edits based on the Attorney General's letter, including just some additions of definitions here, changing, we can't like say separate outside entrances. There was this thing where we said like at least one parking spot, and they didn't like that. We had to say one parking spot is provided. I put the procedure. This is basically the same as a special permit, but I put it specifically for ADUs because the AG was concerned that some of the things that have to do with other special permits might not apply to ADUs. So I made sure that everything here just applies to ADUs only.
Mhm.
And that's about it. So I need to still talk to town council, but if you guys are okay with that one, minus whatever town council wants to change with me, that's what I have for ADU. Should I call on Liana or Lonnie, do you want to call on Liana? I don't know who wants to. If you're okay with me,
Go right ahead, Dylan, that's
I'll do it. Okay.
Hello. Wait, now I can't figure out how to lower my hand. Oh, there we go. Okay, so just a couple quick questions. So has the AG already looked at ours, or from your email? Okay, so they already. That's interesting. So
Yes.
we went to them for like kind of pre-approval to see how they'd react.
No,
and-
it's from town
They-
meeting last year.
Yeah, so last
Oh,
year. Yeah. So you
Special
guys,
meeting,
yeah.
yeah.
I was on parental leave. I think I missed like sort of the end of this, but yeah, you guys did vote on this. The town did vote on this, but it was accepted partially, like partially accepted and partially
With
refused. Yeah.
comments.
With a lot of comments, a few pages of comments.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
apologies. I don't know how I missed that.
no
Or,
worries.
you know,
Yeah. So this is just an update. Yeah.
Okay, and so my next question is hopefully, because I'm kind of splitting screen, so I can't see your screen as clear as I could see my screen. But so I hope I used the right link that you sent, but in the link that I am in with the Word document, it looks like you had some outstanding questions for us, like
Yes.
one, okay. Yeah, so because I see there are definitely some things I wanted to ask you about, but I wasn't sure if that, okay, so
Yeah,
like, I
I
don't know.
was- I was gonna leave those for town council to help with too. So
Okay.
none of these need to have, none of them are really decisions or like opinions, but more what's legal and what isn't.
Okay. So
So
I have a couple of things I did want
Yeah.
to just like run by you. So like the first one, accessory dwelling unit, special permit, ADU. So I get what you're doing there, being over the gross, blah, blah, whichever is smaller. So I think you're gonna run that by town council. I was trying to think,
Yep.
a special permit, ADU is no larger. I mean, maybe you just want to say maybe no larger than 1,200 square feet rather than is no larger. You know, again, that's just personal preference. I'm not sure that's, you know, legalistic or not. Except for the gross floor being over half the gross floor, whichever is smaller. So I wasn't sure I understood that. So were you just redefining what the gross floor area was versus just stopping at the except for the requirement of gross floor area where it says being over half the.
that is directly from the state's definition of what an accessory dwelling unit protected use is. That it's not larger in gross floor area than 1/2 of the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. And then gross
Yeah.
floor area is then later defined so that we know what we're talking about with that. Is that
Okay.
is that
That's what I
clear?
thought you were doing. And again, just my own personal opinion, and maybe town council or other people will think otherwise. I think you were clear when you said an accessory dwelling, like, so we're talking about the definition for a special permit ADU, not the protected use ADU. So I think it may be a little less confusing if you stop the sentence at except for the requirement of the gross floor area.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
then-
Yep.
You know, and then your next line would be a special permit ADU may be no larger than 1,200 square feet or whatever.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree. Yeah.
And by all means, if someone has anything else, just raise your hand, because I just had a couple, like, for instance, you defined lot here, but we have a definition of lot in the, you know, in the
I'd
generic
like
bylaws. So is
to
this
change
different?
that one. Yeah. Yeah. This one is directly from the state, so I'm hoping to talk to town council if this one is better than what we have, because they want us to define lot and we don't define it very well, I think. I think that's where I
Okay.
left that. If I'm
Yeah, so
remembering what
I
I was
don't have a-
doing. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this definition. I definitely would not recommend having a definition in here for
Yep.
lot and a definition in the general. And I tend to
Yep.
like all the definitions in one spot versus spattered
too.
throughout, except like
Mhm.
transit station, fine, you can have that definition here because it's so far, it's only applicable to ADU, but
Yeah.
you know, even gross floor area, you may want to move to general, if we're gonna be in
So-
the general definitions anyway.
Definitely. What I'm doing here is we have a ton of warrant articles. My thought was I will put all the definitions where they are for now, and then in the spring, I'm going to move all of them wholesale. That'll be after all of the formatting changes are done, so that we're not confusing where things go when I'm redlining.
Yeah,
If that's okay with you guys, I think, because at least they're here. And I can definitely move lot. That's like a very, that one's definitely super. If I'm going to remove something from definitions, I can definitely put lot
Yeah.
in the correct one.
I
But
have
like,
no
yeah,
I have no problem with that, except to the extent that something's already defined, you
Yep.
may create it, you know, some,
Yep.
and I wouldn't define
Yeah,
lot here. if
I
we
think
already have it.
lot specifically I can replace instead of just keeping it here. But the rest of them I'm gonna just keep in situ with each specific bylaw, but just the lot one, I'm gonna probably move.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, if someone else has something. I'm just looking for where my next comment was. There are a couple of things that if you do kind of maybe a spell check or something, like I see a line like G, it says if the accessory dwelling unit, I think you meant to say is within, instead of, there are a couple of spots.
Mhm.
I know it gets tough with the redlining to see it all.
I
My
know.
eyes see, so, but if you do
Yeah.
like a fine, you'll probably find those.
Yeah,
What
then it
is
does that, which is crazy.
Right, I
I don't
know,
know.
that's why I knew,
Why does it do that? Yeah.
I think Brendan has something he wants to say, so I'll be quiet as I'm
Yeah,
looking
go
for
ahead.
my next
Yeah.
comment.
I just have a question about the considerations in the red edition. Do you think
Mhm.
that the state will have issue with considerations such as arrangement and appearance of buildings, considering that they're trying to make this as low bar of entry
Yes,
as
where
possible?
we still have that? Where is it?
It's
What section is
in
that?
7.04. It's the one that's added this big block. I know it hasn't been
Yeah.
reviewed by town clerk by the town
Yeah,
council
yeah.
yet, but
I think I pulled this from something else. So yeah, I think it would be better if we can remove that. I'd be great with removing anything that has to do with the
'Cause we're-
look.
yeah, when I read the comments, it seemed like they were
Yeah. Yeah,
targeting
we don't
that
want
kind of
that.
stuff.
Where did we
Under
trying to
C.
find it. See. Sorry, I keep jumping. Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
I'm cool to just take that out.
and I'm all for being as controlling as possible, but I don't want to run afoul of the state.
Yeah, exactly. Just take it out. We don't need it. I think that's directly from every other special permit, so I didn't pull it out. Yep. Okay. Leanna, do you have another comment?
Yeah, and apologies, because this may be something that's required by the state or the AG or otherwise, but in H, where we say accessory dwelling units built after the acceptance of the bylaw may not be used as short-term rentals, and if rented, blah, blah, blah. Two questions. My first question being is, at one point, and again, my memory is not going to serve me very well here. At one point, I thought there was a bylaw that we were looking at or talking about that was the short-term rental bylaw. I'm not sure whatever happened with that.
Yep.
But would that apply to accessory dwelling units?
So this is a provision that the state does allow. It was very specifically called out that towns do not have to require that accessory dwelling units be allowed to be used for short-term rental. They did say that we can't say 1 month, we have to say 31 days. We do have a short-term rental proposal, but we gave it to the general bylaw committee. So I don't know if they're going to bring it to this next town meeting or not. I want to see what they do, if they want to bring it as we gave it to them, or if they make changes, or if they're not going to do it at all. I don't want to mess with what we have until I know about that. So I'm leaving this as what was already approved. It's black text, so we did already vote that in. We just had to change 1 month to 31 days according to the AG.
I got
So I'm
you.
changing that. Yeah. So if there are changes to the short-term rental bylaw, we don't have one right now. If we do end up adopting one, then we can revisit that. Or I can revisit it. Anyone can revisit it
Okay.
for a future town meeting. But yeah, I think we leave it like this for now, and then yeah.
That's helpful. I think the bigger comment is that the black is already approved. I was just trying to figure
Yes.
out, like, what does this imply that they, someone before this can do short-term rentals, and I was trying to figure out is how consistent is that with what we say in the short-term rental bylaw?
Yeah.
But if it's already approved, then we just leave it as
Yeah,
is. And,
this is just how it's already
Yeah.
in it's not on the website, but it is already in the zoning bylaws technically because the AG
Okay.
approved that text. Yeah.
And also this was approved basically right before that ADU law change went into effect, so I don't think there's anyone in that situation.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I thought I had one more question. I forgot what it was. I think in one of your questions you asked if there was somewhere you asked about whether or not it was clear that these were only allowed in residential districts. I'm
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to look for the comment.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just relying on my memory, but I can't remember 100%. Did we not incorporate the ADUs into the use table? And if we
Mhm,
did,
we will be.
okay, so wouldn't we just right there, just check off only in residential, right? Like, so we wouldn't, okay.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, I hope that's enough for explaining that it's allowed where residences are allowed. I just didn't have any text here that like specifically called it out, but I agree. I think just having it in the use table will be enough to call out that it's allowed where houses are allowed.
Yeah, is that going to be, the use table going to be approved the same time as this bylaw goes back, or has that already?
Yeah, I have them technically as separate warrant articles, but I could probably try to fit it in as one warrant article just to make sure that all of the ADU stuff goes through.
I would do that if I were you, just so that
Yeah.
you don't have like this separation, but that's again,
Yeah.
my own personal preference.
Yeah, I'm trying to renumber everything, which is making it even harder. It's making it quite a hassle.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brendan.
Just a quick question. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much, but how would that work on a house that is grandfathered on? Say it's a commercial zone now, but it's a grandfathered house. Would they be able to do an ADU?
Would be a non-conformity. That would be a non-conforming use.
Okay.
So it would be an extension of the non-conformity, so they'd probably still have to go to ZBA for variance.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, if it's already non-conforming, then they have other requirements they need to do, and it won't always work the same way as a house that's in a residential neighborhood.
Okay. Just thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else on this one? Obviously, there's a few things that need work on this one, but if you guys are okay with the general idea that these edits are based on exactly what the AG wrote, and I'm going to work extensively with the town council to make sure that these are good, then we can move on to the next one and worry about votes at the end. Cool. Great. What was next? Article 1. So I'm doing the same thing to all the articles, and then I'm going to put them into one document. I haven't decided if it makes sense to do them all as one warrant article or have them separate. I want to try to do them as one because most of the things are just grammatical changes. So little things like of instead of to. And it's
Which
also
one are
about
you in now?
moving.
Sorry.
This is Article 1.
Article 1, thank you.
Changing bylaw to be the same as the way the title is written for the whole document, and moving these voted AG approved effective things into footnotes. There's a few things I've added in, like this is a new definition for trailer that is from the state. And I pulled this because of the ADU stuff. They also talk a lot about different housing units and stuff. So I thought putting the state's definition might be better there. And then I think I'm going to change the lot definition here, which I should have done beforehand. Here, I said we may be adding lots definition ADU. So I have talked with town council about consolidating those two. The only other change here is section 1.05 was Board of Appeals. Every other town that I've worked in, which is not many, but in the other towns I've worked for, there's usually establishment of planning board, not just establishment of the Board of Appeals. So what the planning board does and how many members, etc. So I've tried to add that into the same section so we don't have to sort of move numbers around. So we have a section about Board of Appeals and then a section about planning board, how many members, how long their terms are, and that they hold public hearings. It's the same text that most other towns use. I believe I did this right, that it's 5 years. Always check with town council and the town clerk. But just an addition of that. And that's it. I haven't changed anything else here. I thought it was weird that this was in this section, but it's fine. It's not a big deal right now. But if you guys are okay with my grammatical changes and that one addition to the planning board section, we can go with that. And
Sure.
obviously, if there's anything else that we change in the future, like I thought we had done something more with this section. I can't find anything about us editing this, but if there are, we can always add that in later.
Just a quick question, Dylan. You said the definition from trailer comes, that's a state definition?
I believe it. I think I got it from the state. Yes.
Okay. And then, again, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, cause more work either. In the last ADU, you had a section on the building inspector. That was kind of, it seemed like a lot of generic language about how, he's the enforcer of the, whatever, all that language. I'm not sure why that would be specifically in the ADU bylaw versus just a generic provision for the administration and enforcement of zoning bylaws. So my recommendation, again, whether it's this time or another time, it would be to put it maybe in this Article 1 where you have stuff about the planning board or wherever it makes sense, but not, this way you don't have to repeat it for every new section where you might want to say this.
Yeah, this is whatever you guys did while I was out, I think. Maybe I was there. I don't remember. I was having a baby. So. But yeah, this was what we did last fall, the black text for the ADU one. So this was put in. I don't know why it was decided to go here, but I agree. I think this is something we can probably move around. Yeah.
Yeah, and you would think it would be pretty easy to move since it's approved language already. You're just putting it in a different section, but famous last words.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely, if it doesn't happen this time, it can happen in the spring once we have everything sort of numbered properly. It's here at least. It just, it'd be nice to have it explained more in other sections. Any other comments on this one? Article 1. Okay, what was next? Sign bylaw. These are the changes that were CMRPC and myself put together a while back. I don't think I made any additional changes at all to this. I just copied the same changes that we had agreed on in the past. That's it. And then I moved the voted, approved, whatever to footnote. Liana?
I just
had one random question. I can't find where the edit is now, but it had to do with signs on town property. Signs on town for any reason require the proper exception. So so it's it's G6. And maybe I'm reading it wrong or interpreting it wrong. It just says signs on town-owned property for any reason require the prior approval of the select board, except temporary signs permitted alongside the public right-of-way under section G.
So I know. I think that's how it was written originally. I moved it from somewhere else.
I mean, I feel like shouldn't any sign on town-owned property require selectmen approval? I mean, people shouldn't be allowed to put signs.
No, they can put political signs on town property, I think. Isn't they can put those Lonnie, can you explain?
There's this whole thing that came out about political signs. There's all this other, I don't know if they were Supreme Court cases. You know who the best person to talk to on this is? John Erickson. He has this thing like hashed out, like it's unconstitutional to even have this town bylaw. Like we're not even allowed. Like if somebody fought it, we would lose.
You mean just in general having a sign bylaw? You're not just talking about putting stuff on town property. You're talking about in general.
I think there was some whole thing about the sign bylaw in general, and then how
it's very difficult
because you're getting into a freedom of speech type of deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely see how there's a very fine line between regulations that don't infringe on freedom of speech and regulations that do. I mean, I have to assume that the Attorney General is looking at that when we're filing these, but
Yep.
yeah, that's always going to
That's
be a
why I'm
risk,
trying to
especially-
remove all of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So my only question is, I'm just not sure that sentence makes sense. So you could put except as allowed by law, or something like that, because the no signs on town property except temporary signs permitted under section G is basically all temporary signs. And I'm just not, I don't know well enough to know if that's true, that we have to allow people to do whatever temporary signs they want on town property without getting any approvals. So,
Not town property specifically, but the public right of way.
Alongside
so
the
those
public.
along the side of the road. So those like little flag signs that people put, little political signs or their company signs. I think those ones where it's very difficult to regulate those.
Even though that's potentially town property.
Yeah, the public right of way, the side of the street. Yeah. I can talk to John Erickson about it. He's the one who sort of worked with us on putting this language together, so I can have him confirm that.
And then, Leanna, did you do that on purpose when you mentioned freedom of speech in the fine line?
Do what on purpose? Wait,
Great name.
But I'm
delete that from the meeting minutes.
I don't like when we use things like provided in section G, because then whenever we change something, it gets messed up again. So this was the text that we had from the past. I'm happy to just sort of say, except as otherwise provided, the following regulations apply. Because obviously we're talking about, the provisions that have to do with temporary signs.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Like this. Like that. Brendan?
Yeah, if we're through with this topic, I had another question about
Yeah.
administration.
Yes.
So the enforcement mechanism, subject to a fine as specified in general bylaws and municipal regulations. I don't think those yet exist. Do those need to be put in place before this is approved?
General bylaws, I thought did have a violation.
Does it have a
fee for
sign
any
bylaw?
violations. No,
think it probably
specifically
has a
for
catch-all.
building department violations. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a catch-all, I think, but it's not
I
specifically
know.
called out anywhere.
No, just violations by the building inspector or commissioner. Which I think this would include.
Okay, so we are in the process of trying to move those into a fee schedule that's updated as a matter of policy, not in the bylaw. So
it would be way better, if you guys do that now, and we don't keep the $25 a day in here, because otherwise we need a 2/3 vote to remove the $25 a day from our zoning bylaws. So I would like to take the 25 per day out as soon as possible.
Oh, I agree. I just say there may be a follow-up action to make whatever this is fitting to more suitable.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And whatever that language is I guess I'll leave up to you.
Yep, I'll keep a note of that and remember to make sure that happens. Anything else on signs?
I had a question. Well, what is the definition of a sign?
Any object, design, or device that is intended for public view from outside a building and is used to identify, advertise, or direct attention to any business, organization, product, activity, service, or event, and is not a municipal sign. Which I hate, but
Okay, no,
yeah.
And
We have a
then-
municipal sign.
and then what is the height? Sorry, I should know this, but what is the height limitation of the signs?
Depends. Let's see. Freestanding signs are 20 feet. Building signs might have a different 1 square foot per linear foot of building frontage. We have different things.
Okay, all right, yeah, thank you.
And I always say, like, we're making some changes now. If we miss something, we have the spring. There's always, even if we don't have the committee together, you can always bring it to the town planner, and the town planner can bring it to the planning board, and we can make additional changes whenever needed. So there's always a chance to bring bylaws to the town meeting vote any season. Good on signs? What's next? Article 3, I'm working on. The chart was not working. I finally got it to work. I'm not a fan of Microsoft Word. It was a big hassle. So I will finish that up, but it's the same exact changes we've done with CMRPC. I'll send that out to you guys in a few days, so you can review it. 6.03 is marijuana. Very minor, like, grammatical changes. We don't need to write out section 1 and chapters. This is how we format everything else. Grammar. Not grammar, but like, the policy that we have for numbers. Not saying ME, saying marijuana establishment, not hard to do. And the big change is removing no use covered herein shall be allowed to have a freestanding accessory sign in the town of Mendon. That is illegal. We need to take that out. My one thing is we do have a violation in here, and I don't love that, but I don't want to change anything without, because specifically marijuana, this bylaw was like written by our town council, I assume, or like really vetted by a lot of different town councils. So I don't want to mess with it and move things around unless somebody has expertise here. I'm just removing really the one thing that we know is not constitutional for us to have in there. Any comments?
I'm okay with that.
And then 2 new proposed common drives and retreat lots. I didn't change anything. This is what we got from CMRPC. Retreat lots. I'm just putting these together. We can talk about either one. But the text is all the same. The only thing I did was like, okay, we have to add this definition in. And then I did like the same formatting numbers as the other. Anne?
I just had a question on the, it was right there, the 1,000 feet. They have to be 1,000 feet away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Except in the case of 2 retreat lots that abut each other, just because you can have 2 retreat lots next to each other, right? Is that what
Yes.
it's saying? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Thanks.
Yeah, 2 retreat lots can have contiguous frontage, so a minimum of 1,000 feet between retreat lots. Except you can have 2. It's a weird sentence, I know. Any other comments on these 2? I have a question on these 2. Obviously, town council and the town administrator and planning board will have a say in how this goes, but I was wondering if it makes sense to put these 2 in the same warrant article or in separate warrant articles. Does anyone have like any thoughts on that? Just because they sort of, I don't know, relate, but I don't know if, like, one can stand without the other one, I think. So if one gets voted in, the other one doesn't. I want to make sure we have that option, but I don't know if it makes sense to like not do that. Does it make sense to only have them together? I don't know.
This is the retreat lot in the common driveway lot?
Yeah.
Common driveway. I mean, I guess they're related, but I don't know.
I know, but they can stand on their own, I think. Like, we don't, they
I
don't
think
need
if
to.
they
They
can
can
stand,
separate.
I think if they can stand on their own, we should keep them separate.
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah.
Although, I agree with trying to streamline. It's
I
probably
know,
gonna
I
be
have a
like-
lot.
there's
I
gonna
feel
be like
bad. I'm
10
taking over the whole
by the
meeting.
time we get to these, there'll be 10 people left in the meeting and
I
they're
know.
gonna be mad.
I know. Yeah.
You're assuming there's gonna be more than 10 people in the meeting to begin with, Lonnie. What is this? I had a quick question. I think 100% I agree that they should be separate. I just want to make sure, because at one point I thought we referenced one and the other. Did we ever reference common driveway in retreat lots? Or I don't think we would have referenced retreat lot and common driveway, but did we reference common driveway in retreat lot?
retreat lots, maybe. And if one passes and the other doesn't, I can order them in the sense that we'll do common driveway first and then retreat lot, and we can make a motion on the floor to just strike that line if we have that.
Okay. I don't recall
Yeah.
if that happened. I just recall there was some discussion, so I can't remember if it ever did kind of intermingle in that manner. But if you just do kind of a word search for common and retreat, and I like your idea, order them such that if there is, then
There we go.
yeah. So we require, or
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
they're on
so
adjacent,
if we don't have a common driveway bylaw, then we probably shouldn't. We can have some
What
sort of
would we do?
alternate text.
Because would we not allow adjacent retreat lots then? Like, what would be the alternative there?
Right. This is why I thought they were kind of interconnected, I think. This is why I had that thought process of being in the same warrant article.
I mean, it doesn't hurt for them to be in the same warrant article either. I mean,
Yeah. Just because they do, yeah, Leanna's right, they reference, this references the other one.
and if it's going to be if we need to either they're not going to go or they're going to go, or there's an amendment that needs to be made, then the amendment can be. I mean, the amendment would be ridiculously huge. I think at that point, if we were that far off from what the townspeople wanted, that we would just revisit it.
Yeah.
Even as the planner and the planning board.
Should 2-3D common driveway, is that capital common driveway, or is that a shared driveway? How should that be worded?
I think
And
we're
it might-
referencing this. So yeah, we can capitalize it as
Okay,
legal
so it is
language.
it's not just a
Yeah.
shared driveway,
Well,
it's the common driveway.
And to kind of add on to that, I wonder if, because it's weird, we only say common driveway 18 feet in width, that makes it sound like that's the only requirement they have to meet. So should that say common driveway in accordance with
In accordance with the other bylaw, yeah.
Yeah. I would take out 18 feet altogether, because if you change your common driveway
Yeah.
bylaw and that goes to 20 feet or 16 feet,
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about finding it everywhere else.
I like that. I'll fill that in. Depending on what number the bylaw is. I have to just ask if we're going to do 6.04 and 6.05 or 6.05 and 6.04. I got to find out which one's which. So I'll add that in. Any other comments on either of these two? I think we need a common driveway definition. I don't think they gave us one from CMRPC. I can pull
So did we
one.
want it? I'm sorry. Was the outcome that we would put those two together or separate? Or are you going to make a decision with the planning board?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned about this because
Yeah.
if we can't reference what a common driveway is because we don't have a whole bylaw about what common driveways should look like,
Right.
we might have an issue there. So I think putting them together makes sense.
Okay. We can
Um,
also, like I said, we can bring it to the planning board, see and get their opinion too.
Absolutely. I think that's all of them that I have for now. And like I said in my email, they still have that out. So technically I don't need votes. It's sort of as a committee, it's like nice to have them because then we have like a formal, like, yes, you guys are happy with all these things. Looks like we still have a few edits to make here. I can make those edits and then you can use that as a condition on your vote that I make the edits that we talked about today. B, we can have another meeting and you can vote then. C, you can not vote and entrust me to bring it to the planning board as the planner with the informal consensus of the committee.
So my opinion would be to let's vote based on the changes that, that we reviewed. Obviously the ADU one is you're going to work out with town council.
Yep.
And then at least we voted. If something drastically changes and you need us to meet again to vote on one of them or all of them, I would say that, based upon the changes that we've seen here, that we would accept a vote. And then, again, if we have to meet again because of it, if something drastic happens, then so be it.
Yeah, I'd love to meet again just for the rest of them that I just have to finish redlining.
Sure.
I'm not planning on making any changes from what we already, agreed upon at CMRPC, but I think it's still nice to have that vote from you guys. So if we can meet one more time, I mean, maybe August or September. We don't know when the select board's going to decide on the town meeting date, but we should probably just try to meet quick. I have to finish the work first.
We should meet in September.
Early September, maybe. I'll send an email if you guys want to figure out schedules, and I can nudge you guys 1,000 times about polls again.
Okay.
I'm not subtle. I will.
That's what we need. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm gonna push you guys to get a good date to me, but I can give you a few days to figure out your calendars and select a day that works.
Yeah, you're like that. Dylan is just. I
emailed you guys every day for like 5 days.
All right. So, do we want to vote on these today, or do we want to wait?
Yeah, do you want that? Any other opinions on that? I can bring this up again.
I'll accept the motion if somebody wants to make one.
I make a motion to vote on these bylaws for submission to the planning board. Oh, there we go. Thank you. That's way easier than me trying to make a motion to recommend that the planning board vote to sponsor the following zoning bylaws revisions for the next upcoming town meeting, subject to the changes that we discussed today.
Second.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, Brendan Chanel.
Aye.
Leanna Moore.
Aye.
Ann Manzak.
Aye.
Fran Nero.
Aye.
Matt Clark.
Aye.
Tenio. Aye. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
I'll make those changes. Yep. And I'll keep you guys updated as I move forward. So I'm gonna meet with town council. I'll tell you guys how that goes. I'll make these edits. I'll send them over to you. We'll be in touch even if we're not meeting.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks so much, Dylan.
Thank you.
Thanks. And don't forget,
Thank you, everyone.
Don't forget, Rock the Block is September 6th this year. We're actually doing it.
Wow.
Don't forget to-
September 6th. All right. You also have to make a motion to adjourn, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, don't forget to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Sorry, Leanna.
Aye.
And
Aye.
Brandon.
Aye.
Fran.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tenio, aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.